Hey, what's up, guys? Earlier this week, I got to see a list of duties a broker owner was building to create a new sales manager position in her company. And one of the responsibilities that stood out immediately was weekly script practice with the agents. And that got me thinking about the time Sylvester Stallone, Chuck Norris, and Arnold Schwarzenegger were reading over a script at lunch. It was for Stallone's new movie called The Composers, which is about the descendants of famous European composers joining forces to fight terrorism. Stallone said that he'd play Beethoven and that his theme would be Ode to Joy, but get this, Joy would be the name of his shotgun. And Norris said he'd be Mozart and conduct a symphony of pain. And then Stallone said, "Well, Arnold, what about you? What are you going to be?" Schwarzenegger thought about it, nodded his head, and said, "I'll be Bach." Okay. Today I want to talk about scripts, why practicing them is a waste of time, and what you can do to build your skill level that's far more effective. So when I was a new salesperson, I quickly learned about this thing called scripts. I was told that the best way to get good at selling was to practice and memorize a set of responses that would counter objections and hesitations from my clients. Now, in my 20s, I was hungry for success and didn't know any better, so after a year and a half of intense struggling, I enrolled in my first comprehensive sales training program. And as the lessons unfolded, we were taught patterns of communication and then given words to practice those patterns. And everyone around me, my broker included, called those words a script. But interestingly, I never remember the trainer ever using that word. She called them tracks. And like a good student, I practiced in class, but never in the office. So while my colleagues killed time practicing scripts back in the office, I had no choice but to pick up the phone and try to generate leads. At that time, I had no money, no savings, and no spouse with a salary, so the pressure was on. Now, the other agents in that class were much older, and they could procrastinate because of their fear of rejection or sounding like a salesperson. And so practicing scripts with each other gave them the illusion of work without having to actually talk to a potential client. Now, I had no such luxury at the time, so when I did speak to people, both on the phone and on appointments, I was essentially practicing my scripts. But if you're following me here, I wasn't practicing scripts as much as I was practicing patterns of communication. Now, in the field, I quickly learned that I wasn't going to be able to repeat the so-called perfect script every time. And my gut told me that it didn't even matter because no one sent my prospects their lines. So results came much faster when I just let my own personality come through while putting all of my effort into staying on track with the patterns that I was taught. Now, some of you know the end of this story. Because I ignored scripts as such and focused on the pattern, after 3 months, I'd outproduced everyone in my company. I generated $60,000 of commission in 90 days when I was only 20 years old. And that was the point of no return in my sales career. The concept of sales scripts is so ingrained in our industry that back then what the trainer was trying to teach us was lost on all but just a few of us. Scripts were meant to be used to give us a chance to experience patterns of communication in the classroom environment. But beyond that, she wanted us to go into the field and practice the patterns with our own words. After all, we all have a real estate practice, right? So practicing scripts with others who also have a real estate license offers little benefit, but it carries the risk of enabling procrastination. So if you're interested in real growth, then you have to learn the patterns of communication to become skillful and persuasive. And I wrote about the most powerful patterns in my upcoming book, The Top Producer Life. And we're about to send that sucker to the printers, and it'll be ready for you soon. But last night I found a new place to practice that I hadn't considered before. It's not necessarily with hot prospects, but it's better than script practice with other agents. Okay, so don't fall off your chair. That new place is internet comments. I know that must sound crazy, so stick with me. If you live in California, then you already know we've been hit with another round of lockdowns. And as you can imagine, people have strong opinions about it. When the new restrictions were announced, I spent the first half of the day sending angry emails to elected officials and the second half walking off my anger. But by the time the lockdowns were in effect a few days later, I'd grounded myself and calmed down. And after everything else this year, I think I just wanted to find a way to stay productive and work constructively on a solution. So the Santa Barbara County Supervisors were set to vote on a resolution to persuade the governor to back off. And I wanted to drum up support for that action. So I posted on Nextdoor, the Nextdoor app, and as you can imagine, the comments exploded with people on both sides of the issue. But it's the first time I can remember not getting caught up in the drama myself. Instead, I just began practicing a specific pattern of communication to see how many people I could persuade to agree with me. And I didn't even realize I was doing it until the next day, or I guess today, and how effective it was. See, every person who left a heated and inflammatory comment was a person I leaned into, and several of them ended up switching sides. So, you want to know what the pattern is? It's really simple. First, find any tiny thing you agree with them on and state it. People like to be right and they want to be heard, so give them that right off the bat to lower their defenses. Then, in a firm but non-accusatory manner, state your opinion. Third, find an adjacent topic on which you can compliment them. And then fourth, ask if they're willing to consider your side of the issue. 4 simple steps make up a simple pattern that can be used on any topic, and over time can make you super persuasive and very effective at selling your point of view. Agree with them, state your opinion, compliment that person, and then ask them to consider your opinion. In my case, there was an ICU nurse who strongly opposed asking the governor to lift the Santa Barbara restrictions. So her feelings and opinions were real, so I validated them and agreed with one small portion of her argument. Then, after stating my opinion, I thanked her for working in what must be an insane environment and asked her to consider my point of view. So she liked my comment, but never responded again. But you know what? Nearly everyone who initially agreed with her was persuaded by my argument. Now, there's no way that would have happened if I didn't let the pattern of communication itself do the heavy lifting. So, I want you to try it out this week. When someone suggests practicing scripts, tell them that you'd rather go practice internet comments instead. And then watch them give you a look like you're crazy. Crazy maybe, but more skillful in the end. Just make sure you ground yourself on the topic at hand before jumping in. All this stuff won't work if you're a heated mess yourself. Okay, so there've got to be a few of you out there who are willing to try it this week, and I can't wait to hear how it goes, so you gotta let me know. Thanks for watching, you guys. It's gonna be a great week. Happy holidays. My name is Jason Edwards, and let's go think bigger.